Lance Berkman and the Cardinals now in Tampa Bay. Lance with a pair of home runs last night. He's up to 20. John Jay also connected with an opposite field 3-run shot, his 6th of the season last night. Will the winning ways continue? We're in Tampa Bay, Tropicana Field. The Tampa Bay Rays from the American League East playing host to the St. Louis Cardinals from the NL Central Division. A look at the series history between these two teams. The Cardinals have been here before, had great success a couple of years ago, played very well against Tampa Bay at home. Along with Rick Horton, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Welcome to Cardinals Baseball. We jump right into it. It's our first bank, first take, and it's a look at the pitching the Cardinals will face in this series.
Joe Madden has a very solid starting rotation. The Cardinals catch a break, though. They don't get to see David Price and James Shields. That's the good news. Davis has won 3 straight. Neiman, a 6'9" right-hander, was a 12-game winner a year ago. And Hellickson is their star of the future. We'll see him on Sunday.
First bank, we're banking on your future. That's a look at the starters that we'll see this weekend. Coming up, we'll revisit the sweep in Baltimore. Baseball around the corner. Back in Tampa as we get you set for baseball here tonight at Tropicana Field. Game 1 between the Cards and Rays. Redbirds in first place thanks to a sweep. This is crushed out to deep right field. Rasmus has gone deep here in Baltimore. This is well hit left center field, and that ball is gone. Another 1-2 pitch. Bouncer right side. Nick Punto makes the play. The Cardinals hold on for the win, 6-2. And an 0-2 pitch. Got him, a swing and a miss, a strikeout. Guerrero with a high fly ball into right. Jay is there, and Carpenter gets out of the jam. Another 0-2 pitch. Got him, he ends it with a strikeout as he goes the distance. Chris Carpenter, gutsy performance here tonight. The 1-2 is hammered out to deep left. Way out of here. And that is hammered deep right. 2-home run game for Lance Berkman. The 1-2 pitch. Guerrero, chopper too short. Force play at second, and the Cardinals have a sweep here tonight. The Cardinals sweep the Baltimore Orioles. They've won 3 straight, and it's off to Tampa. The veteran Jake Westbrook gets the call tonight.
A 5.5 ERA over his last 6 outings. He scuffled a bit in the month of June. 7 left-handers in the lineup against him here in Tampa Bay.
And the big boys are set to go. The lineup is ready to roll. Can they make it 4 wins in a row? We're about to find out. Baseball from Tampa is next. Baseball brought to you by Smooth Bush Beer and Easy Drinking Bush Light. By Chevy. See your Mid-America Chevy dealers. By Southwest Airlines. New Rapid Rewards. Unlimited reward seats and no blackout dates. By Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers, #1 in quality tires and expert auto service. And by Steak and Shake. Life needs flavor. Beautiful Tampa, the St. Pete area. Many Cardinal fans are down here from all those years, Rick, as you well know. With spring training here.
A lot of memories, Dan.
I bet. I bet. Tony La Russa, born and raised in the Tampa area. He has family and friends here. And Ryan Theriot looks at a strike, and we're underway. Theriot, the Cardinal leadoff man, their shortstop, is batting .293. 1 home run. He's driven in 28. And he hits a fly ball into right. Matt Joyce in foul territory makes the catch. The bullpens are in play at this ballpark. Look at the Southwest Airlines starting lineup. Theriot, Jay, and Holiday, followed by Berkman, Freese, Rasmus, Molina, Hamilton, and Skip Schumacher. The scouting report on right-hander Wade Davis.
He's won his last 3 outings. He's a 4-pitch pitcher who loves his cutter. Pitching staff and the coaching staff doesn't really feel the same way about his cutter, but he's also having a hard time putting batters away. A lot of 1-strike, 2-strike counts that turn into 3-2 counts.
And the hitter is John Jay, the left fielder or right fielder or center fielder, it doesn't matter. But Tony La Russa before the game flip-flopping he and Lance Berkman.
He usually wants John Jay in the outfield position that he considers to be the toughest one to play based on the ballpark. Pretty symmetrical ballpark here. Doesn't seem to be too much of a difference to me.
It's a fly ball that's out of play near the Cardinal bullpen. John Jay with a home run last night into left center. And that home run was number 6. 404 to dead center field. 322 down the right field line. And just shy of 320 down the left field line. Lots of red in the seats here tonight. The 2-2 pitch. Cardinals arrived in Tampa last night about 3 in the morning. Get your rest and get right back at them here tonight.
Want to keep that good feeling going after that outstanding series in Baltimore. The Cardinals took 3 straight there. They did everything right, Dan. The pitching was good. The offense was better. And now you've got a little bit tougher team here in Tampa to face.
Ground ball to the first baseman, handled easily by Casey Kotchman. Plaza Tire Service replay. And this is our Foxmo. This will go off the mask of the catcher. Ouch. So 2 away, and it brings in Matt Holliday. He'll serve as the DH tonight. Matt hitting .325. 10 home runs. He's driven in 40. Numbers for Holliday this year in 57 games. Outfield is deep and straight away in the 0-1 pitch. Ripped into left field. Diving catch. Oh, what a play by Sam Fuld. The legend of Sam Fuld continues here in Tampa. Sam Fuld was picked up from the Chicago Cubs in the Matt Garza deal. And when the players were announced tonight, he had the loudest ovation. It's because of plays like this he has become a hero here in Tampa.
Yeah, almost cultish the way people are rooting for him, really not just here in Tampa but throughout baseball. He's become quite a star. For a guy batting .240 with 3 errors in left field, he's quite a star.
And here is Johnny Damon, who's been a star in this game a long time, and looks at a strike from Jake Westbrook. Damon, the leadoff man and the designated hitter for the Rays tonight. Johnny Damon, what a career this guy has put together. And before it's all said and done, he may just get to 3,000 hits. He's over 2,600 right now, which may surprise a lot of folks. Came up with Kansas City back in 1995.
You got to believe he has his sights set on that number. That's the magic number for major league hitters. They want to do everything they can to play long enough to get 3,000. The guys that maybe are nearing the end look for opportunities to DH somewhere in the American League to get that number.
They talk about different guys and approaches at the plate. Johnny Damon, feet are moving at the plate when the pitch is coming to him. And that just missed. To put it in perspective, Johnny Damon is tied with Ted Williams in hits. Watch these feet.
Back of the box, right foot moving.
That will roll foul. You don't see much of a reaction from Jake Westbrook, if at all. 2 pitches ago, he thought he had Johnny Damon struck out.
Jake Westbrook knows it's very important for him to get off to a good start. And if you believe the umpire missed a pitch on the first batter to make you go full count to put you in danger of walking him, I think that's where the reaction came from.
Ground ball to second. Schumacher puts it away for the first out. A look at the lineup for Joe Madden. It'll be Damon, Zobrist, Longoria, Joyce, Upton, Kotchman, Jaso, Fuld, Brignett. Scout report for Westbrook.
I think it's very important, Dan, that he trusts his sinker. Don't be afraid to throw it in the middle of the plate. Just throw it down. Third time through the lineup has been an issue for Westbrook. He doesn't have that extra pitch to put guys away. He works very quickly, and some would say, and I would say, there are times he works too quickly. If he gets in trouble, you have to back off, try something different.
Ben Zobrist has been a doubles machine in the month of June. He had 12 doubles to lead all of baseball, and he has 27 overall.
Westbrook 6-3 lifetime against the Rays with a decent ERA. Different team, different players, but sometimes that feels still helpful for a pitcher.
1 on, nobody on. The count is 3 balls and no strikes. Silent George Hendrick, first base coach here with Tampa Bay.
One of my favorites.
7 years of his playing career spent in the Gateway City.
And not really very silent. If you know George at all, spend a few minutes with him. He's engaging. He's an absolute gentleman.
And another ground ball. Schumacher, high throw, but out at first. Hamilton with that stretch. The defense for the Cardinals tonight: Berkman, Rasmussen, Jay in the outfield. Freeze, Terrio, Schumacher, Hamilton along the infield. And our battery is Westbrook and Molina. That's presented by Dobbs. Mark Hamilton getting his second start at first base. Evan Longoria, one of the young stars in Major League Baseball. 24 RBIs in the month of June, 36 total.
Extra day's rest for Jake Westbrook may make his arm a little bit strong today. He's going to have to make sure that he uses his hands and finger pressure to make sure he gets movement.
People will say around baseball it's beneficial for a sinker baller to be tired more so than have that extra day of rest. Why is that?
Well, I've always actually disagreed with that. I mean, I don't think that's true. I think what happens is you're more likely, because you're strong, to just think you're stronger than you really are and throw the ball straight. I'd much rather still be rested and have a strong arm, but you have to focus and make sure you're using your hand and your wrist and finger pressure to make the ball move. So in a way it's true, but I think it's true only if you let it be true. If you're strong and you're a sinker ball pitcher, you ought to be able to have your best out.
Line drive into right, and John Jay makes the catch. A 1-2-3 inning for Jake Westbrook. No score after 1 here in Tampa. No score as we move to the top of the second here in Tampa Bay. And a look at the defense of the Rays. Fold, Upton, and Joyce in the outfield. Longoria, Brignac, Zobrist, and Kochman along the infield. Davis and Jaso. The Dobbs defense for Tampa Bay. Down in that dugout, hard to believe it's been 6 years now for Tampa Bay, but Joe Madden, their manager, grew up a Cardinals fan. Great respect for the organization. And the last time that we saw Tampa Bay in interleague play was in St. Louis. Cardinals had a couple of walk-off wins in that series. But Joe Madden made all his players come out and see the great Stan the Man, who was being driven around the baseball field and waving to all the fans. There's a base hit into right center field. That ball will roll to the wall, and the red-hot Lance Berkman continues to roll. He's having some kind of year.
He hit that ball right on the nose. He continues swinging the bat as he did in Baltimore. Seems to be back on track again. He just hits that ball very hard into the right center field gap. This is a new AstroTurf field here. It's a brand new field. Told that it really has kind of true hops. You don't have the typical AstroTurf big bounces, but it looks so much like grass. Really kind of a unique surface. And Joe Madden was talking about it before the game. He loves this field. He actually loves his team too. And I just think he's a perfect leader for this organization and for this ball club.
Here is David Freese, third baseman, batting .364 and .406 with runners in scoring position this year. What will always be a concern for Tampa Bay, as they won the American League East Division a year ago, and they won it in 2008, is trying to keep players like Carl Crawford. They were very aggressive with Evan Longoria, the third baseman. Tulowitzki, Longoria, Braun. Team said, we're going to take a chance on these young players and lock them up earlier in their career than we have to, but we get to buy out some of those arbitration years.
They have scouted very well, and their draft choices just continue to produce, and I think that is one way they can get through maybe not being able to sign everybody. I think the other competition for them is the fact that you're in the same division as the Red Sox and the Yankees, and Joe Maddon told me he believes that makes them better and it makes them good at playing on the road. They're the best road team in baseball. He said if we can handle Boston and New York, we can win in other places. It's a piece of cake.
Base hit right side. They will hold up Berkman at third, and it's runners at the corners for the Cardinals. Surprisingly, Tampa Bay 19-20 at this ballpark, but as Rick just mentioned, major league best on the road 26-16 as Freese just goes right with the pitch, drives it into right, and Lance Berkman safe at third, safe and secure. New York Life. Runners at first and third for Colby Rasmus, coming off 2 home runs against the Orioles. Up to 8 on the year. He's driven in 32 and batting .258. Tampa is one of the best teams in the league at finishing off games when they score first. It's our Toyota keys to the game.
34-8 along with the Atlanta Braves, so just don't let him do it. That sounds simple. Just score first, Dan. What's so hard about that?
And then all of a sudden you say, well, why don't we play the rest of the game? Breaking ball, little chopper, slowly hit. That'll score the run. And Rasmus is out at first. Berkman scores the first run, and it's 1-0 St. Louis, and the RBI for Colby Rasmus, number 33.
The RBI is not pretty, but it got the job done. Rasmus puts the ball in play. Infield was playing back, looking for a double play, so Lance Berkman knows he can just go on contact. He sees where the infielders are. Ball not hit hard, you just take off.
Now it's Yadier Molina. Runner at second base, David Freese. And Molina shoots it down the right field line. It is slicing and foul.
Interesting thing about this pitcher, Wade Davis, and we talked about it a little bit at the onset of the telecast. 12 wins last year. He has won his last 3 outings, but the coaching staff here wants to see him use his fastball more. They think he's kind of lost a little bit of that aggressiveness to put guys away. He's become cutter happy. And we've seen that with other pitchers. We've seen it with some Cardinal pitchers over the years.
Yanni pops it up. In on his fist and behind home plate.
And that's a good fastball right there. There's a runner in scoring position. Just go right at him. Just get the right location. And sometimes a pitcher will get beat on a pitch, and then he's very hesitant to go back to it again, especially a young pitcher.
The cowbells are out. You can hear them ringing the ballpark here in Tampa Bay. Line drive right center. That will get down. They're going to wave in Freese. Here he comes to the plate. Save. He surprised everybody. Molina winds up at second base. Initially, David Freese held up, assuming that And we are, at least I am. I don't want to speak for you, but he had to wait to see if this was going to be caught. Obviously it was not. Didn't read it very well. Initially, Jose Oquendo held him up and said, why not? Let's do it. Bring him home.
Well, that is just a mistake by Tampa Bay, and that is something that a manager is not going to like at all. Upton just really nonchalantly flipped the ball into the infield from center field. He's a very good athlete, very good outfielder, but he really got robbed there by David Freese, and credit Jose Oquendo with noticing his kind of lackadaisical way of getting that ball back into the infield.
The pitching coach here in Tampa Bay, you may remember this name, Jim Hickey. He was with Houston when the Astros had those very good teams that battled the Cardinals in postseason play. That was an odd play in center field by B.J. Upton, who is a tremendous player. But that clearly should not happen. Now it's Hamilton. Runner at second base and one out.
Be careful when you take things for granted in this game.
Mark Hamilton, 184 hitter, no home runs. He has driven in 2. It's a 2-0 St. Louis lead.
Perfect swing, goes the other way. Yadier Molina. Upton, here's the reaction. He saw that Freese didn't get a good jump, so I'll just lob it in to second base. Whoops. How about that?
And it's 2 balls and 1 strike. Westbrook now with a 2-0 lead.
Wonder whether Molina deserves or should have an RBI. I assume they gave him an RBI on that. There's no real error on that play, but
I'm with you. I agree with you, but I don't think the official score gave Yadier Molina an RBI on that. If they did give him that RBI, it would be number 30. Now they have changed it, so it is an RBI single.
But you could see how they might not.
Sure. Here's a 3-1 pitch. And that is ball 4. This plays right into the hands of Tony La Russa with the DH. Sometimes even with the pitcher in this lineup batting 8th, Skip Schumacher would be batting 9th. And Schumacher is really starting to dial it in.
9-game hitting streak for Skip. And we've seen him, Dan, hit the ball well the other way. He's hit the ball up the middle. He's really spraying it everywhere. And I think when Skip is on, that's what he does.
Runners at first and second. Schumacher takes a ball. Couple of RBIs in the series against Baltimore. 5 of 9. First pitch strikes for Wade Davis. Cardinals with 3 base hits and a walk in this inning. 2-0.
Never been a big fan of kind of the crouching over set position that pitchers will get into. I mean, not so much here where he's just getting the sign, but even when he comes set, he just seems really uncomfortable to me. He's not standing tall. He's just kind of bent over at the waist. Just don't know what good that does.
Popped up. And this will be caught. Outstanding play by John Jaso.
Boy, he had a lot to contend with there, didn't he? Almost had it pop out of his glove. Leaning over the fence. Didn't give up on it. Ball popped up behind him. He had to see it first, get rid of the mask, and make the play. Don't hit the laptop.
It's up to Terrio with 2 outs. Back to the top of the lineup. And Molina getting a very sizable lead out there at second base. So jumping in there was Ben Zobrist to try to keep him close. A guy like Molina running a step or two could be the difference in a play at the plate.
And nice to have a guy like Terrio at the plate in this situation. He's been very good with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. Maybe a little bit more offense from Terrio as we look at that proof of that comment. 361 batting average. A little bit more offensively than I thought we'd get from Ryan Terrio this year.
Cardinals looking to upgrade the offense. They've done that with Terrio, Berkman. Still missing the big guy, Albert Pujols.
And Dan, just to finish the point about the pitcher making that kind of awkward stance when he comes set. If you're going to just go straight to the plate there, that may be one reason to do it. But he's slow anyway. He just picks up his leg and goes. Just not sure what the value is there.
Back to Davis. Fires a strike over to Kochman. And Yadier Molina, the Cardinals have jumped out to a 2-run lead. August 8th, it's the Pujols Family Foundation. They'll host their 9th annual Albert Pujols Celebrity Golf Tournament. And you can find out more at PujolsFamilyFoundation.org. Again, that's on August 8th. Right fielder Matt Joyce leads it off. And a strike by Westbrook. Tampa Bay, the Rays trying to hang tight. The American League East Division. That's strike 2. We're 4 games back. Boston 2.5 games back of New York. And the 0-2 pitch by Westbrook. Got him. 3 pitches, struck him out. His first of the night.
Well, he didn't waste any time. He just went right at him, got ahead of him, then finished him off with a sinker off the plate. First pitch strikes are also important for Jake Westbrook. Not the kind of guy that can pitch well if he's behind in the count.
B.J. Upton. Only hitting .223 this year. 12 home runs, 42 RBIs.
The sinker off the plate, good movement, fools the hitter. His back foot moves.
Right now he is locked in here at the start of this second inning.
Well, you talked about how Johnny Damon's feet move, but that's the way he hits. But most hitters want to have a nice firm foundation. And if you've got a pitcher throwing the ball off the plate with good movement, you can get a guy unstable with his lower half. You've got him right where you want him. Change of speeds does that as well.
A 2-2 pitch. And Upton calls time. Second overall pick back in 2002. On the outside corner, it's a strikeout. Back-to-back Ks for Jake Westbrook.
Off-speed pitch, little change up that just hits the outside corner.
Here's Casey Kochman, known more for his glove. Very fine defender. And he looks at a ball. Kochman this year, .338, 3 home runs, and 22 driven in. 2 balls and no strikes. This is what you're talking about, where Westbrook takes his time, steps back, and just gathers himself after falling behind 2-0.
Exactly right, Dan. If you just rush back to get up on the mound again, you're just going to probably repeat the same arm action and the same pitch location. There are times this year where you could almost picture Jake Westbrook being winded, Dan, from pitching. He's going so fast.
There's a lot of truth to that. Sometimes we have a shot of him and he is breathing
Exactly right.
extremely hard and quickly. Full count.
He's composed himself now. He's back in this count, 3-2. Now Kochman's going to have to be protective of the plate. He got a chance for another 1-2-3 inning.
The 3-2 pitch to Kochman. He walked him. First base runner of the night for Tampa Bay. Cardinals are pleased to offer fan-friendly values throughout the 2011 season. And find out more at the Fan Value Corner at cardinals.com/values. By the way, we should tell fans that Monday at 10 o'clock in the morning, 10 a.m., the Cardinals have teamed up to celebrate the 4th of July with Budweiser. They're going to be offering $4 tickets for the series against Houston in late July. It's a 4-game series, and there will be tickets for $4 available at 10 a.m. on Monday, the 4th of July. That will last all the way until midnight on Tuesday.
I'm hearing you right. $4 tickets.
$4.
July 4th.
You got it.
4-game series.
Yep.
Wow.
You're all over it. Good pitch. 0-2.
Good movement back over the inside corner.
Once it outside, hits his spot, it's in the dirt. We don't see a lot of teams step out on Jake Westbrook just to maybe break that rhythm that he gets into, especially when he starts it very quickly.
I think it'd be a good idea to do it. If he's pumping in strikes, make him wait.
Short lead at first. The changeup misses, low and away.
Fish weren't biting.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
We used to say that all the time. I mean, you throw a pitch, you think, man, you're just kind of teasing him, thinking he's going to take a little nibble at that. He doesn't. There's a happy guy, Chris Carpenter. Fish weren't biting again.
We thought that Carpenter was getting stronger in his last start. Went 9 innings, over 130 pitches, and the case was correct that we presented that indeed he was getting stronger. And a ground ball, base hit. Over to get it, John Jay quickly into the infield it comes. Runners at first and third with 2 outs.
The runner moving on a 3-2 pitch. No trouble going first to third. John Jay does the absolute right thing, gets the ball in the infield as quickly as possible. Jake Westbrook was very close to a quick 1-2-3 inning. Now a little bit of stress here in the second. Mr. Superman at the plate.
And a very good catch in left field. Took a hit away from Matt Holliday's first time up. There's a strike on the inside corner. These fans are letting the home plate umpire know about it. Vic Carpazza is calling the balls and strikes tonight. They're not too happy with him. Ground ball, force play at second, and Westbrook gets out of the jam. Up next, news of the day with Jim Hayes. Baseball from Tampa is brought to you by the Stadium Sports Bar and Grill at Lumiere Casino. It's now open, a sports bar for everyone. And by Taco Bell, right now offering $20 admission vouchers to Live Nation concerts. It's 2-0 as we move to the top of the third. St. Louis and the Tampa Bay Rays. First pitch to John Jay. Take it for a ball. He grounded out to first. And he is 0 for 1. Jim Hayes has joined us along with Rick Horton. And Jim, I'm Dan McLaughlin. It's fouled back. And for Tony La Russa, homecoming of sorts, but yet in your interview with Tony before the game, he didn't want to give you anything, did he?
Well, he's locked in. Ball game to play, but he did talk about how this area nearby Tampa being his real hometown. People think of him as a West Coast guy from the Bay Area. He said
his wife's from Virginia, correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But he does have 50+ family and friends on hand. But this is where he discovered his love for baseball.
Saw Lou Piniella, the dining area, doing some scouting now. He said he was going down to catch up with his old buddy Tony La Russa before our first pitch tonight. The 2-2 to John Jay. Well hit into center field. Upton is back, and he's got room to make the catch. First man retired, and it brings in Matt Holliday. And Holliday serving as the DH tonight. A little bit under the weather.
Yeah, he told me he's got like cold symptoms, doesn't know exactly what it is. He said he's fine to hit. Tony thought it best to put him at DH and give him a bit of a breather. If you saw him during BP, though, he was absolutely crushing balls and hit the ball very hard his first at bat, so I guess he's fine.
He was robbed by Sam Fold and left. And there's a swing and a miss as they challenged Holliday with a 92-mile-an-hour fastball up in the zone.
You guys notice how often we bring up batting practice as it relates to Matt Holliday, and you know we see batting practice every day. I mean, it's not that big a deal. A lot of guys hit home runs, but Holliday is something special during batting practice. The show he puts on.
Fold won't get to that. He's hustling after it though. Plays it off the wall. Fires into second base, and Holliday in there safely. Tell you what, Sam Fold couldn't have played that any better again. Made that a close play at second base, and it's a one-out double.
And I like the way Matt Holliday read it as he rounded first base. He was watching the throw just to see if it was a strong enough throw to get him at second. There's Fold again, hustling, perfectly done. And as the throw short hops the shortstop, Holliday was eyeballing that throw, just seeing if it was going to go all the way through to second base or not, and he just took off and had himself a double.
Now it brings in the switch hitter, Lance Berkman, who is locked in again. Right on cue, he breaks his bat. Right back to the pitcher, Holliday, nowhere to go. You can actually hear the rain, the roof, the building here, Tropicana Field. If we were in Miami, we'd have a rain delay, and that's the issue that the Marlins have. And at least when you come here, you may not like the ballpark, but no rain delays.
Well, they got the big top protecting folks here, and that's what it looks like.
It really does.
It's a double canvas type structure, and for guys playing outfield in this ballpark for the first time, picking up the ball can be very hard. Some guys were looking at that and wondering if things would go well tonight, because you could lose the ball real easy, Rick.
Shades of the Metrodome. Recall in 1987, all the Cardinals outfielders for the first time playing in that dome and with a white ceiling, thinking that, boy, you couldn't see a pop-up. Willie McGee really struggled with it, and it kind of got in our head and maybe made it worse thinking about it.
Holliday stranded at second midway through 3. Sunday, July 3rd, the Cardinals want to make sure that you have a chance to continue to vote. Final vote balloting Sunday, July 3rd. The final spot, and you can vote at Cardinals.com. Reed Brignac, shortstop for Tampa Bay. Swing and a miss. Underway here in the Rays half of the third.
One of the other things that you would have to get used to if you're a defensive player here for the first time, because of the turf, you have two different colors. The warning track is a different color, but the texture is the same. And in most ballparks, it's a dirt warning track, or even some of the old turf stadiums, it had a different texture. This is exactly the same. So you kind of have to know where you are. You're not going to feel it, and that's something they have to get used to.
Also on the ground balls, you will notice that there is the ground up tire that comes through. Some of the players did not like that. It gets in your shoe. At times it can get in your eyes. Strikeout for Westbrook. And that is number 3 tonight for the right-hander.
And he looks very strong tonight, guys. I really like what I'm seeing from Jake Westbrook. Again, the real proof for him about having a good outing is what does he do the second and third time through an order. But first time through the order, outstanding. 3 strikeouts, just 1 hit and a walk.
Johnny Damon takes a strike. Damon grounded out his first time up. 6th inning single on Sunday. He ties Ted Williams, the hits list. Talked about that earlier. 5 doubles away from tying Babe Ruth. It's amazing. You can email us at carsoup.com/Cardinals and email the booth. Rick, you were looking at me like I was crazy giving you those numbers.
I thought I heard you say Ted Williams and Babe Ruth. I'm listening so intently to you, Dan, but I just can't believe some of the things you're saying. We got $4 tickets at Busch Stadium. You're talking about Johnny Damon having as many doubles as Babe Ruth.
Not quite. He's
but
close.
Getting there.
He's close. Anytime you're in that conversation, you've done something right.
I would agree.
Dave Duncan told me before the game about Jake Westbrook is he's got to control the count, and he said he's been good about getting that first strike, and then he picks and picks. He needs to be more aggressive. He said, I think he's doing that.
Well, Rick, he's also talked about in controlling the count, when he falls behind, then he feels that he just grooves it.
Yeah, you saw him do it with Casey Kochman. He was ahead of him in the count, ended up losing him. That's the only walk he's had, and that's exactly what you're talking about, Jim, and what Dave has seen too much of. And I think that goes back to the first point we made in our scouting report about Jake Westbrook. You need to trust your sinker, that it's good enough. You don't have to pick. And, you know, when you groove it, when you get to 3-2, that's a different story. You throw an 0-2 pitch in the middle of the plate down with movement, or 1 and 2 pitch, you're going to get guys out. Trust it.
Second walk issued by Jake Westbrook. And it brings in Evan Longoria. What did George Hendrick tell you, Rick, about Evan Longoria?
Well, he likes his team completely. In fact, what George was talking about is they've got guys on their bench that ought to be playing every day. I mean, George was selling his team big time to me. He really likes Elliott Johnson off his bench. He likes, I mean, he knows everybody likes Longoria. And one thing he told me about Longoria is if he gets picked off first base, it's his fault. Because he's told Longoria, Yachty's coming after you. And I don't want to have to tell you twice. He picked him off once before. And George has told all the guys repeatedly to be careful on your lead. And he says, I think Longoria is a key candidate to get picked off.
That's never good when your coach says, all right, here's my candidates to get picked off. And this guy's number 1. This guy's 2.
Well, but on the other side, he recognizes that he's a Gold Glover, a 3-time All-Star. So, you know what? You can put up with a mistake every once in a while.
3rd overall pick back in 2006. He had 22 home runs, 104 RBIs a year ago. Here's a 1-1 pitch in the dirt. Mike Reese, the voice of the Salukis of Southern Illinois, is here with Gene Green. Those two enjoying baseball tonight. Two balls and 1 strike. Short lead at first. Outside and low. 3-1.
There's the picking you're talking about.
Exactly.
And I guess the heckler is long gone, huh?
Need Scott Seibold to be back here. He had a field day with Seibold last time we were here, and I'll tell you what, Longoria is about the third or fourth Ray that has spun away unhappy with this strike zone.
Someone told me the heckler was tied into real estate. Things obviously weren't going well, and he had to give up his tickets.
And it's back-to-back walks after Westbrook was able to get the first 2 outs. That's his third walk, second in this inning. Matt Joyce struck out his first time up, and this is when you start thinking about bad things that could happen.
Yeah, walks is just terrible when you have a lead, especially. And Jake Westbrook, really since he's been a Cardinal, has walked more guys than you would think he would. He seems like a control pitcher to me. Seems like a guy, clearly sinker slider pitcher, not an overpowering guy. You just think he would be a guy that throws a lot of strikes.
Get out of play and foul.
But the walk total is certainly high. Westbrook was having his great years with the Indians. He was throwing 210 plus innings and walking about 50 guys. Numbers are higher as a Cardinal.
Just outside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Matt Joyce struck out on 3 pitches his first time up. That pitch right there is what he has had success with early on against Matt Joyce. Struck him out on that pitch his first time up.
Yeah, that's just a really good changeup. That's poor pitch recognition by Joyce. He thought he was swinging at a fastball.
And a check swing, a strikeout. Yachty blocked it, tagged him out. Strikeout number 4 for Jake Westbrook. Fox Mo brought to you by Hyundai. Jim will see you on the post-game show. Two to nothing St. Louis as we play here in the top of the 4th. Colby Rasmus with a ground out and RBI, drives it into right center field. Upton makes the catch. Very smooth in center. Join the Cardinals. They'll take on the Chicago Cubs August 19th through the 21st. The road trip to Wrigley Package. Hotel accommodations, hard to get game tickets. Chance to mingle with the players after one of the games. 800-892-7687. Those tickets are going fast. 800-892-7687 or cardinals.com/vacations to find out more. Upton again. Molina retired, 2 outs. Tampa Bay and St. Louis in interleague play. Tropicana Field here in Tampa.
It's the kind of inning that Wade Davis is looking for. A couple of pitches, don't break a sweat. It's all right, they hit the ball hard, doesn't matter, we got a guy to catch it.
Brings in Mark Hamilton.
They have a very good defense here that sets them apart. Second in the American League fielding percentage. Talked a lot about their left fielder, how good he is. Longoria, Gold Glover at short. Outfielders can go get it. Also have strong arms in the outfield. Zobrist has been a very good utility guy, the second baseman, maybe a better outfielder than he is a second baseman. And talking with Jose Oquendo, they've got a guy on their bench who's from Puerto Rico, Sean Rodriguez, who's as good a fielder as anybody. he just can't crack the lineup. Very smooth hands. And another one of those guys that George Hendricks said should be playing every day in the big league somewhere.
One and two on Hamilton. Puts it in play. Longoria over at third. Just watching him there on basically a routine play. You get an idea how smooth he is. 2-0 St. Louis. Next Wednesday, it's an Ice Mountain autograph night at the ballpark. For more details, just go to cardinals.com/promotions. And for all 3 games, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, dynamic pricing in full effect with $9 terrace level seats, $20 pavilion level seats. Upton, is he thinking too? No, he'll stop at first base. But again, to repeat that, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday against the Reds, $9 terrace level and $20 pavilion. B.J. Upton now is 1 for 2.
Yeah, and one thing that developing a reputation as an outfielder is a guy that's going to get the ball and get it in. What that does for you is it keeps Upton from trying to go to second base on this, because they know that John Jay is going to hustle on that ball down the line. Upton, a sure threat to steal. 20 out of 24 in stolen bases.
Time is called.
Not
Casey
really.
Kochman is at the plate.
Yeah, it's not really if he's going to steal, it's when with a guy like this.
This is what makes the game fun right here. If you get a quick move by Westbrook to the plate and give Molina a chance. Also, with a left-handed batter up, many times this is when you see Molina at his best. Just guns one to first, but that's Hamilton down there and not Pujols. And you wonder how that affects the dynamic of a pickoff play for Yadier Molina.
Well, I definitely don't think it's the same without Albert. They have just an uncanny communication between the two of them. That doesn't mean Yadi's not going to try.
He is not running, and the pitch is taken for a strike.
You almost get a sense of a frustrated hitter right there, because he thought Upton was going. He took the pitch for him. It was a strike. That's one of the problems with bluffing to steal, is you may be confusing the batter who's trying to give you a chance to steal.
That's a good point.
That happened with Tommy Herr all the time. Tommy Herr was just great at taking pitches for Willie McGee, Vince Coleman, but he somehow still managed to hit 290, drive in 100 runs anyway.
You hear the thunder outside. That's where you hear the oohs and ahs of the crowd here in Tampa. He is running, and the pitch is hit to third. Heads up play here by Terrio and Molina, knowing that with the speed of Upton and running on that pitch, he very easily could have just kept on going to third. We would have had a play there.
David Freese has to vacate his position to catch this ground ball on this run and hit. There goes the runner. There's the ball hit on the ground. Freese throws the ball across the diamond. He can't get back to third, but Molina and Terrio are there to pick him up. That's just thinking. That's just instinct. I mean, that play doesn't happen very often. So you can't really just program that. You can't plan it. You just have to react to it.
John Jaso, the catcher who is singled tonight. And we're looking ahead at just a bit here to Monday and the 4th of July. Right now, the scheduled starters. And it could be a good one. Chris Carpenter, Johnny Cueto. Monday in St. Louis. Two 2-0 the count. One out. Runner at second base.
There's a sinking action. Ball moving down and away.
Same pitch right there.
Just comes across the top of the ball with his fingers. They actually come across, almost throw the top of the baseball to impart this downward spin going down and away.
The 2-2 is taken low. And again, it's another full count for Westbrook. And here's a guy, Rick, that's supposed to pitch to contact. I know that's something that you don't really look that forward to, but that's the idea.
Yeah, well, I don't like the term. I understand the philosophy. I think you're not afraid of contact would be what I would say, as opposed to pitching to contact.
And yet here we are in the fourth with only one out. This is pitch number 70. Terrio will go across the diamond.
Too many. Yachty's pointing to first for Terrio. A little bit of a quarterback if you're the catcher. You're the only one facing that direction after all. Everybody else is looking at you if you're the catcher. You got 8 guys looking at you.
Two outs and a runner at third.
So you can really survey the field like nobody else can. You can see all the moving parts, guys backing up, pitchers going where they're supposed to, where infielders should throw the ball to.
Slap the other way and foul near the Cardinal dugout, or rather bullpen down the left field line. Mentioned that with the configuration of this ballpark, both these bullpens are in play in foul territory.
Yeah, you mentioned that, Dan. Got me thinking about it earlier. I like that. I mean, I always thought having the bullpen in play helped keep you in the game more as a reliever. You could see things from where the Cardinals bullpen, and as we're looking now at the Rays bullpen, you can see things, you can see hitters' reaction better than if you're out in the outfield. You can identify pitches easier, the ways that the umpire may be calling the balls and strikes for Jake Westbrook. All of those you can tell from down the left field line, the right field line.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Check swing did not go. 2-2. Erwin Danley, our third base umpire.
Polls listed at 5'10", 180. I'm not buying.
A 2-2. Change up, had him out in front. Fought off and a foul ball. The quirkiness of this dome, there are catwalks at a couple of different levels. That if it's in fair territory, hits the catwalk, it's a home run. Some are doubles. Depends on where it's at and how it's ruled by the umpires.
And if they have this sheet of paper,
that helps. The 2-2. Got him on the inside corner and a strikeout of Sam Full. Westbrook, Rick, has been in trouble tonight, but no damage done so far.
a lot of complaints from the Rays on the strike zone. Here's the pitch. Inside corner. Full does not like the call. We've had 4 or 5 of those pitches argued very, very close. I would say too close to take.
Skip Schumacher leads it off for the Redbirds, and Fold, you could see he was quite upset with that strike call.
Superman doesn't get upset.
And you're referring to Sam Fold, who had a giveaway because of all the great plays he was making. They actually had a cape and a giveaway, the Sam Fold cape, that was handed out for the fans here in Tampa Bay.
Only thing that bothers him should be kryptonite, right?
That would be it.
And a ball just off the inside corner.
That and Gene Hackman. You didn't get the Gene Hackman reference to the Superman movie with Christopher Reeves.
I was going through my, what was his name? Lex Luthor? Is that what his name was? Okay, I had to think about. That's what I was thinking about. I got it. I was just thinking, Dave.
There's a base hit, right center. And Schumacher is aboard. Mr. Smugger. Remember, he'd scream it. Now is it all coming back to you?
I get it. I get it completely.
Schumacher is 1 for 2. And it brings in Ryan Theriot, who is 0 for 2.
10-game hitting streak now for Skip. And we've mentioned how he's using all the fields. I would say that defines Ryan Theriot a little bit too. He's not afraid to hit the ball down the right field line. There's a big hole on the right side now.
Been a lot of talk in the last 7 days or so about the future of the Rays, just like there was talk when we were here a few years ago in 05. I will say this, though, and I'm not sure if you agree. The atmosphere, to me, in this game alone, is much better than what we saw back then.
It really is.
And I'm not sure why that is. If the crowd is a little bit bigger, the sound system is different, whatever the case may be, and there's a hit and run pulled foul. But it does seem like the atmosphere in here is a little bit livelier than it once was.
And I don't think you're saying it's great, and I wouldn't agree with that part, but I would say it's definitely better than 2005. I think was the last time the Cardinals were here. It almost seems like the overall ambiance is different, whether it's the signage or the colors inside here, just something different about the way this field looks. And I would say, pretty nice experience if you're in South Florida. Why wouldn't you be here at this game tonight?
Here's the 0-2 pitch and a ground ball, base hit. Shortstop was going towards the bag at second. And Theriot is aboard with his first hit of the night. The aquarium here at the ballpark. I'm sure when you were cutting your teeth in the minor leagues, you never thought you might be seeing stingrays out behind an outfield wall, but you get that here in Tampa.
You do see some crazy things in the minor leagues.
Yes, you do.
I believe Joe Madden says just one ball was hit into that aquarium. He's trying to remember who hit it, but that's a bomb out there. He said, and he was really talking about this being a very fair ballpark. If you hit the ball here, you get rewarded.
We were told it was Luis Gonzalez, and it's a pool that's in right center. So he had some splash hits, I'm sure, in Arizona in that ballpark, and he gets one here in Tampa.
He may even have one in San Francisco,
Pittsburgh.
Wasn't aware at the time, but at Camden Yards they don't have splashes, but they put little marks on the pavement when you hit one onto the street, where Lance Berkman hit one yesterday. So he will have a little mark there.
Just announced today that Luis Gonzalez will manage the World Team in the Futures game, the All-Star game in Arizona. Mike Piazza for Team USA. If John Jay would have gotten that bunt down and you advanced second to third, been interesting to see what Joe Madden would have done. First base open, and I get you're talking about a big inning and a hot bat behind him in Berkman, but with what you've seen in the first 2 plate appearances tonight, you may not want to pitch to Holliday.
Yeah, I think Holliday, you are not disrespecting Lance Berkman by saying you don't want to pitch to Matt Holliday. And I think Matt Holliday right now is just on another level.
Holliday gets underneath it and hits it a ton, but high in the air. It's about as high as you're going to get without hitting a catwalk. Runners at first and second now with 2 down. And we'll turn to our trivia question with Berkman getting set to dig in. Since 01, where do the Cardinals rank in July winning percentage? AT&T trivia question. Right behind the Yankees and the Braves, you find the St. Louis Cardinals at 590. Berkman has doubled tonight. Ball scoots away, and it's a tough read there for Terrio. He's got to make sure that Schumacher is advancing to third.
And Skip thought about it. Yeah, you can't be wrong if you're Ryan Terrio. Actually, you don't want to be wrong if you're Skip Schumacher either, because the inning's over. You're taking the bat out of Lance Berkman's hands.
Berkman, fly ball. Fold is there to make the catch. Snooks this date in baseball history. Colby Rasmus would end the game with a long fly ball. Turned out to be a home run. Walk-off homer to beat the San Francisco Giants 2-1 in 10 innings. That night, Adam Wainwright made the start. He struck out 12. Matt Cain started for San Francisco. And a dramatic win for the Redbirds.
A lot of interesting names on the backs of those Cardinals at home plate.
Hawk Howard,
Ludwig, Tyler Green, Brian Franklin.
Yes.
How quickly things change in this game.
Brignac is the shortstop for Tampa Bay. And their 9th place hitter. He struck out his first time up. Came in hitting only .181.
Sure doesn't have the sense, Dan, of a big lead, and it's not. 2-0 Cardinals. Cardinals scored 2 runs in the second inning. Had a couple of other chances. Runners in scoring position in the 3rd and 5th, as well as left a couple runners aboard in the 2nd inning. Just a lot of work left to do for the Cardinal pitchers, which we will assume will include more than Jake Westbrook. You mentioned his pitch count being up early.
Into center. Rasmus. This July, it's baseball's biggest stars. It's the All-Star game in the desert. Tuesday, July 12th, live from Phoenix at 7, only on Fox. Don Zimmer in uniform before the game for the Tampa Bay Rays. Around baseball forever. Don Zimmer. There's Lou Piniella on the left. There's a strike to Johnny Damon. We're back to the top of the lineup. 0-2. Damon so far tonight is grounded out, also popped out to short.
So when I managed the Cubs, this is what happened.
They both can share stories there as Damon waves at it and strikes out.
First time through the lineup, 221 batting average. It just increases second and third time for Jake Westbrook. He's now working on his third time through the lineup. So far, so good. Really, one of the keys for him is to be able to figure out an alternate way to get somebody out.
You know, Tampa Bay started this season 1-8. Since then, one of the best records in baseball at 44-28. They start 1-8, and then Joe Madden is dealing with a situation like Manny Ramirez. Counting on him to be a big part of this lineup. He was going to be suspended by baseball, so he said, the heck with it, I'll retire. Joe Madden, his 7th season. Briefly with the Angels, but full years with Tampa Bay. Very well respected around the game, too. Nothing in 2 the count. And it's popped up. Terrio going out. He's got it. 1-2-3 inning for Jake Westbrook. We head to the 6th. David Freese leads it off when we come back. If you have a car and love baseball, then don't miss out on discounted Cardinals tickets from Phillips 66 Gas when you fill up with 10 gallons or more. For complete details, stop by your local station or visit cardinals.com/Phillips66.
Been watching this gentleman all game long. He wears a Rays jersey when they're batting, and when the Cardinals come to the plate, he decides he's going to switch allegiance. So I guess he's just a lover of offense. And that's a man that came prepared. He actually has his family sitting with him, has kind of a hodgepodge collection of Rays and Cardinal stuff as well. I assume that's his son, too, to his left. Cardinal hat, Rays shirt. I would say that's a very conflicted family.
Why? David Freese and a ground ball to second. Why? He's keeping score. So he's into the game. But then flip-flopping the shirts in between innings. And you're right, he's obviously a fan of the offense.
Just likes offense. That's it.
Here's Colby Rasmus. Picked up an RBI. Back in the 2nd inning. Even for us on these pop-ups, trying to find it out of the ceiling here, it's not an easy thing to do.
We know it's up, and that's about it. You have issues with the lights as well as the catwalks you're talking about. Kind of not that good a background for baseball, and of course everything's white.
Two strikes on Colby Rasmus. You know, Dave McKay will tell you that he teaches his outfielders, once it's hit in the air, run to a spot. So your head's down, you're running to a spot, then try to find the ball again, locate it again. In this situation, that would not be easy to do.
Might not find it again.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Dave McKay looking into the camera area just to the right of the dugout of the Tampa Bay Rays. It was a line drive hit by Rasmus just moments ago. Hopefully everybody's all right. The 1-2 pitch. Fought off by Rasmus. That was a pitch a week ago, Rick, that was getting him out. You know, he just seemed to be a little late with his swings. Not able to at least fight off on an inside pitch.
Become a bit of a streaky hitter, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. Foul ball. the outside corner, strikeout of Rasmus. Wade Davis picks up his second strikeout. Right now at FoxSportsMidwest.com, we have a story of Johnny Rodriguez, the Cardinals Class A affiliate, Quad Cities River Bandits manager, and his son Sean, infielder for the Tampa Bay Rays. They discuss their climb into baseball, their support for one another, and their dreams for the future. It's all on FoxSportsMidwest.com. Breaking ball and a strike to Molina. Carlos Martinez was just promoted again. Hard throwing right-hander for the Cardinals in their system. Colton Wong at last check is hitting above 400. First week of professional ball. Backhanded very nicely. Zobrist. Evan Longoria leads it off. It'll be 3, 4, and 5 to face Westbrook at the bottom of the 6th. Cardinals baseball is brought to you by, for a limited time, Jack's Really Big Chicken Sandwich Combo is back for only $3.99 plus tax at participating restaurants. And by Kia Motors. To learn more, visit kia.com. Tampa Bay Rays, St. Louis Cardinals, Redbirds with a 2-run lead. Westbrook pitching into the 6th inning. Big inning for him here. 3, 4, and 5. Longoria, Joyce, and Upton. Strike 1. Evan Longoria has walked and also flied out to right. Drop down for that breaking ball. 1 and 2. 6 strikeouts tonight for Jake, to go along with 3 walks. The Rays with only 2 hits.
3 walks, 6 strikeouts means a lot of pitches, though. A lot of deep counts.
Right down the middle. Longoria strikes out. 7 tonight for Westbrook. Here it is. Hit it. 95 pitches tonight for Jake Westbrook. Matt Joyce is 0 for 2 with a pair of Ks.
Kind of hard to imagine sometimes when a big league hitter, especially a really good hitter like Longoria, takes a fastball right down the middle with 2 strikes. To me, that's an indication he was looking for something else. Guessing.
Yep.
Maybe guessing for a changeup and thinking, boy, if he throws me a changeup, I'm going to be sitting on this, because he's been doing that as a strikeout pitch. Or maybe he's going to drop down some of that slider again that he threw me early in the count. And all of a sudden you get the fastball and it's too late to pull the trigger.
A 2-1 pitch. Back to Westbrook. Stays with it and makes the play. Next time you want to catch a Cardinals game, head to StubHub. You'll find the seats you want and where you'd like to sit. StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the Cardinals. As Terrio and Molina are out to check on Jake Westbrook, who says he's all right. That's the one thing about Jake Westbrook. Watch how he finishes, Rick. Gets himself in very good fielding position. Squares up.
I think he does that naturally. Not sure I'm an advocate of teaching getting yourself in good fielding position just for the sake of doing it. If you're not going to finish your pitch,
pointless.
It's pointless. Because the fielding position won't matter, because they'll be hitting it out of the ballpark. Bob Jacobson, a great example. Danny Cox was another good example. Danny Cox always finished with his back to home plate. Got hit in the back a lot with ground balls. Very athletic pitcher. But you don't want him to not finish his slider, not finish his typical motion just to be able to field the ball.
Here's a 1-1 to Upton. Center field. Rasmus makes the catch. We head to the 7th. Hamilton, Schumacher, Terrio coming up. It's 2-0. What's on tap tomorrow? Presented by Budweiser. It's Kyle McClellan trying to pick up win number 7. Kyle McClellan goes for the Cardinals. Will come your way 5:30 in game number 2 tomorrow. Underway here in the top of the 7th. Mark Hamilton, the hitter, and looks at a strike. Hamilton is walked and grounded out. Cardinals about hit Tampa Bay 6-2. They lead it 2-0. Both runs coming in the 2nd inning. Hamilton's one of those guys, Rick, when you watch him swing, he does not get cheated one bit. Lets it rip.
I'm not sure what I think is the future for Mark Hamilton and as far as being a power hitter or being a gap hitter. I think the letting it rip part makes you think, okay, he's a home run guy. I'm not sure he's going to be a 25 home run guy in the big leagues. Maybe he will, but I think having more of a gap swing and really just concentrate on being a better hitter. It's like what Albert Pujols always says about himself, and his manager says. He's not a home run hitter. He's a really good hitter that hits home runs. Now, I'm not suggesting Mark Hamilton's going to be Albert Pujols. Don't hear that. But I think there is something to that philosophy. You start with being gap to gap, and the home runs will come.
Lefty getting loose in the Tampa Bay pen. The 3-2 pitch. J.P. Howell throwing in the bullpen for Tampa Bay. Just the 3rd strikeout for Wade Davis.
Talk so much about the pants, the way players wear them now. Still don't understand how they don't get caught in the spikes. I mean, look, Dan, that is as close to the ground as it can be. His left leg. I guess they're just perfectly tailored.
Some guys even will tuck them under the back heel.
And we know who started this whole mess. George Hendrick is the guy over in that Rays dugout right now.
The 2-1 pitch. Schumacher skies one down the left field line and out of play.
George has a great story of when he was signed, where George had a scout come to his house and he said, I want you to come play. And he says, I'm not doing it. I don't want to play baseball. And he said, we heard you're good. He said, I'm not going to do it. So he went out and watched the game that was being played. He was wearing a white t-shirt and jeans, just watching him play, and he slowly kept getting closer to the game, and they finally got him into the game in a white t-shirt and jeans. At a tryout, he was just raking. And so he was signed to play professionally because they could tell he was talented.
Take a look at our carsoup.com email the booth question. How many baseballs must be available for the play prior to each major league game? So how many baseballs need to be ready? Okay, 3-4 dozen.
I have no idea.
Home team does provide them. They rub up the baseballs.
We're going to have to start getting questions that the announcers actually know the answers to. Like how many outs per inning? How many strikes till you're out? Come on, folks, you're asking too hard of questions for us.
Time to stretch. It's 2-0 Cardinals. Four greatest moments in Major League Baseball All-Star Game history. They'll go head-to-head to determine which is the most memorable of all time. Stan the Man is still alive in this. Stan the Man, 1955 walk-off home run in the All-Star Game. That's one of your choices. Just go to MLB.com/moments. Here's a ground ball. Backhand by Terrio. Settles, throws, and makes the play. Right now it's Hummel going against Stan the Man. I can never get Rick to watch the highlights on the right because Rick is watching the swing and miss by Babe Ruth.
It's because he pulled his head. Just can't believe it.
John Jaso at the plate. Lance Berkman is taken over at first base. Descalso is at second. And Skip Schumacher is out at third, or rather out at left, excuse me. David Freese still at third. The 2-1 pitch. Ground ball. 2 away. Against the Rays, 13 starts, a record of 6-3, 3.93 ERA. And Jake has been efficient here tonight, especially the last couple of innings.
Yeah, he's been outstanding. The pitch count going down a little bit per inning. Now retired 3, 6, 9, 10, 11 batters in a row. You know, when a sinker ball pitcher has it working, looks really easy. It's not, but it looks easy.
You're right. It's one of the guys that when you watch pitching, Cliff Lee and a lefty, when he gets in that kind of role, it looks easy, but also watching the sinker baller and Westbrook right now cruising. 1 ball, 1 strike. Sam Fuld is the hitter.
There's a lower pitch count, only 12 in the 6th inning, actually going in a better direction since the 2nd. Less pitches per inning, attacking the strike zone a little bit more, getting outs quicker. George Hendrick doesn't move like he used to.
Now when you have a bullpen in play, you also have to protect your bullpen. One-two pitch.
Remember the times when George Hendrick, when he'd play right field with the Cardinals, if he'd have made the last out the inning before, after the 3rd out was made, he'd just come sit in the bullpen with us down the right field line. He did that all the time.
Berkman to Westbrook, and Jake is through 7. The end of the 8th. Jay, Holiday, Berkman coming up. Cardinals baseball is brought to you by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. By Bank of America, where ATM deposits are as easy as an infield fly. No deposit slip, no envelope. With Bank of America, member FDIC. And by AT&T. Even you can face Mark Burley here at Tropicana.
I think Mark Burley throws harder than that. They need to recalibrate that.
Our Chevy call to the pen. J.P. Howell, lefty in to face John Jay. The starter for the Rays, Wade Davis, certainly pitched well, only gave up 2 runs, yet his offense much different here at home than it is on the road. Rays have averaged over 5 runs a game on the road, 3rd best in Major League Baseball, and at home they rank 27th.
Hard to imagine about their offense because they have such good team speed too, Dan. You think they could manufacture runs even if they're not hitting with their power or hitting for average enough in a particular series that they could make some things happen just with their legs. 70 stolen bases as a team. The Cardinals with just 35, just to show the difference.
And the 1-2 pitch by Howell to Jay. Left center on the move, upped in with his speed. He'll track it down.
That almost looks exactly like the ball that carried out of the ballpark in Baltimore for John Jay.
Paid attendance tonight, 19,934, 19934. Here's Matt Holliday. Holliday has doubled. He was robbed his first time up, also popped out to short. We talked about Lance Lynn the other night, and if he would see a more important role after striking out 5 of 6 in relief of Kyle Loesch in that rain delayed game, and the answer is yes. Lynn is throwing in the bullpen right now.
Well, we saw something different out of Lance Lynn in that last outing. We saw a guy that was a strikeout potential guy, not just a guy who's going to flip up off-speed pitches and change speeds and be kind of that kind of normal 4-pitch starter that we thought he was going to be. He was a guy who was throwing hard out of the bullpen. So maybe he's got a shot at being that 8th inning guy.
The 1-1. 1-2 on Holliday.
I'm looking forward to having Sanchez back. I loved watching him pitch.
Little flair to him.
Yeah, and a little roller coaster feeling when he was on the mound as well. He'd be great, and then he'd be so-so. Then he'd take an 0-2 count to 3-2. But really had just outstanding stuff. We really expect to see him, Dan, probably just right after the All-Star break is our best guess.
Understanding is he would throw this week. The 2-2. Holliday out to left. Sam Fole makes the catch. Lance Berkman with our Nissan drive of the game. He'll dig in with 2 outs. This is Berkman back in the 2nd inning with a double into right center.
Great look on how he was able to get on top of that pitch.
Did you see that after that flyout, which I thought Holliday might put out of this building, may have gotten away with that pitch. J.P. Howell bent over at the knees. It looked like he was talking to himself, screaming at himself.
Is he answering?
I don't think so. He's trying to figure out how to pitch Matt Holliday. You just don't see anything off of Holliday's bat that's soft. I mean, ground balls hard, line drive outs. If he pops it up, he hits it a mile high.
So that comes under the category of a pitcher being realistic. Even though he got results, he got an out, he knows that he threw a pitch in a danger area that Matt Holliday just missed. And so, yeah, the results are good, but felt like he needed a little pep talk.
2-2. Just enough tailing action against these right-handers where one time Holliday couldn't center it up. Berkman right there on that pitch couldn't do it either. It's 1 for 4 against J.P. Howell. We're in the 8th inning. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Another close pitch. We've had a number of close pitches. A lot of them haven't gone Madden's way, and voicing his displeasure. He may not be done yet, and the umpire says that's enough, and he's continuing the conversation, and the conversation is now over.
Here we go.
Well, maybe it's not over yet. Showing amazing restraint while Joe Madden was telling him what he thought about his umpiring ability. Sometimes you just got to let it out, Dan.
Now David Freese.
Kind of looked like a sergeant yelling at a private.
It really did, didn't it? But he took it.
He did. He took it.
Let him have his say, and that was enough.
Kind of nodded a little. Said, okay.
Freese is 1 for 3. Now Freese doesn't like that strike call on the check swing. J.P. Howell, the 27-year-old. Acquired from Kansas City. Back in 2006. I just read Freese's lips. He said, wow.
I tell you what, he's had an awful lot of close calls too, hasn't he? I mean, those are very, very borderline.
1 and 2. Joe Madden, the 4th ejection already of the season, the 21st of his career. 1-2 pitch to David Freese.
My understanding, Dan, is that the cowbells that everybody's making noise with here is really just a tribute to the owners liking the Saturday Night Live skit with Christopher Walken with cowbells. That famous Saturday Night Live skit, and somehow the owners said they liked it, so it's become a tradition here.
And it's a balk. So Lance Berkman is in scoring position.
Too much cowbells.
Two. The 3-2 pitch. We'll do it again.
Pretty important extra run out there. Big opportunity for David Freese. He's already scored a run, got his base hit tonight. Batting average very hefty for David Freese.
Gap into right center field. He could put one there. Instead, he'll take the walk. Very good at bat by David Freese. Over 20 pitches for Howell. And they've got a right-hander throwing in their pen. Second time that Freese has been aboard.
And you can see him being careful with the right-hander Freese with Rasmus on deck. Punto will run for Freese. We've seen him come out in late innings since he's come off the disabled list. Tony trying to give him a little bit extra rest, get his timing back in the field.
So Nick Punto is your pinch runner. Runners at first and second. Colby Rasmus has an RBI. Rasmus fights it off into the seats. He's flying out to center and also struck out. Rasmus rips it into right. Will it stay fair? You bet. 3-run homer, Colby Rasmus. They didn't get the strikeout. Inning was extended. Rasmus drills it into right field. He thought he had a strikeout, undoubtedly, a couple of times in this ball game. Didn't get it. And then Colby Rasmus unloads with a home run down the right field line. Right-hander now warming up in this game. I'm not sure how many have been thrown out. Looks like Price has been ejected in this game. Joe Madden has been ejected. Howell ejected. And these fans are dejected after this one swing and blast. The boos continue to rain down on this home plate umpire. 2 balls and no strikes following a 3-run homer by Colby Rasmus. And Molina hits a fly ball out to right. And let's listen to this crowd as we head to break. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the St. Louis Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals.
The huge home run by Colby Rasmus erupts in a great display of emotion on both sides. The Cardinals, the joy, the handshakes, the smiles, the high fives, the routines. Lance Lynn takes over for the Redbirds. And on the other side, you see self-destruction, Dan. I mean, the range of emotion in that last inning was very interesting to watch as a fan of baseball and as a fan of sport in general, just how much it can turn on a particular pitch, and Colby Rasmus certainly did turn on a pitch.
I think I've seen in a major league game now the third time where a guy picked up his glove in anger like that and threw it down.
You see that a lot in games with younger kids.
Yes, you do.
You know,
like 8-year-olds.
And it really, his defense, and I don't want to defend him for throwing his glove down and having a little fit there on the mound, but I think he got a baseball, didn't like it, threw it out, and then asked for another baseball. The umpire didn't hear him, and he probably yelled something he shouldn't have yelled. Maybe not even necessarily at the umpire, but he took it that way, and then that led to some other ejections, and we're trying to still sort that out. We think there may be a couple other players that have been thrown out of this game.
1 ball and 2 strikes. 2-2. Never forget Pedro Guerrero, left field for the Dodgers when Jack Clark hit that famous home run.
Exactly.
Took his glove, he slammed it down. I remember Ted Lilly doing that when pitching for the Cubs.
Pedro was mad at his manager.
Tough play here. Safe at first. Johnny Damon will be the hitter, back to the top of the lineup.
It would have been kind of fun just to see what would have happened if Doug Eddings would have called him out there. I mean, just for fun. Why not?
Thinking the same exact
just
thing.
For fun.
This place would have gone nuts.
You know, it's not that much fun when it happens to you, I must admit. Bang, bang play. He was safe.
It's the right call.
Helped out a little bit by the runner.
Well, Lance Lynn, let's see if he can't shut the door. He's the kind of guy that gives you a little versatility. 2 balls and no strikes, where if Tony wants to have him extended with a 5-run lead into the 9th inning, if it stays that way, he can.
We've seen it happen, Dan, where a club has gotten boxed in by using your 8th inning pitcher, and then maybe the 9th inning, all of a sudden you erupt with some more runs, and you were planning on using your closer, but your 8th inning pitcher is a 1-inning guy. So now you've got to use somebody else you don't want to use, and that almost disrupts the flow a little bit. Of course, you're happy to have the runs, but Lance Lynn does give you that flexibility.
Two-0 pitch to Damon. Catches the corner. That pitch right there, for the most part, has not been a strike tonight. 19,000. They're getting their money's worth here tonight as Damon hits it out of play. Powell, they had to hold him back. They had to get David Price back in the clubhouse. He was so upset. We think there may be 4 ejections in this game. Lost in all this here, the last few moments or so, the performance of Jake Westbrook tonight, giving you 7 solid innings, scoreless baseball. Popped up, and Descalso makes the catch.
Numbers for Westbrook outstanding. Just 2 hits in 7 innings. 3 walks, 7 strikeouts. And we do have confirmation that David Price was also thrown out of that game, as well as Elliott Johnson, switch hitting outfielder, off their bench. He must have set his 2 cents as well. And that 2 cents will cost him $500. I guess that's still the fee. I don't know. It's been $500 for a long time for an ejection. My guess is it's more than that.
Cardinals have 3 lefties in their pen, but they go with Lance Lynn to start this inning. Nothing in 2 the count.
I think the way the Cardinals bullpen is going right now, Dan, to kind of follow up on your thought there, I think you go with whoever's throwing well and whoever you feel best about, and forget the lefty righty thing for a while. Use it when appropriate or when there's maybe an even choice. But just as there was a time you would put Kyle McClellan in the 7th inning and Franklin in the 8th and Izzy in the 9th, or whatever your combination you can think of when things are going well, don't really worry about lefty righty if the guy's being effective.
Lance Lynn has gotten 2 outs now.
2 bad at bats there too by Johnny Damon and Ben Zobrist. Both very good hitters. I mean, he's way late on that.
Now Longoria. 5-0 with 2 outs here in the 8th inning. Evan Longoria 0 for 2 on the night. That pitch at 94. It looks like, you know, going back to the other night when he struck out 5 of 6, and here tonight, maybe we're just not seeing it, but it just looks like it's got a little late life right now, and you're not seeing real good swings against Lance Lynn.
Little hop to it.
I've also heard in talking with some of the Cardinal personnel here the last couple of days, they feel that he hides the ball extremely well. Do you see that too?
Yeah, I think that's part of him keeping his front shoulder closed. And actually early in this inning, he threw a couple of pitches where he opened up his shoulder a little quickly. Yachty went out and talked to him, and he's kind of had it straight from there. But he's closed long enough that the arm kind of comes out of nowhere. You also see a lot of action with his glove on the front side that might kind of hide the ball as well.
But they may have something here in Lance Lynn. It certainly has to be a shot of confidence for him to come into a game late like this. It's a good pitch there. Just a good hitter staying away.
Often don't focus on what a pitcher has to do with his front side, but you really have to get your front side out of the way. And he has a very violent movement if you watch Lynn's glove on this pitch and how much he's going to pull it through, which is going to force his backside through.
Longoria with a high drive. Right center field. This could be trouble. That ball is still in the ballpark. It's down. Run will score. Longoria with an RBI double.
We're only going to keep him down but so much in a series. He's just that good a player, that good a hitter. Nice simple stroke. And with all the left-handers coming up, 5-1 game in the 8th inning. No action in the Cardinal bullpen.
There's Matt Joyce. Joyce had a tough night against Westbrook. He was 0 for 3 with a pair of strikeouts. Here's a 1-1 pitch. Runner at second base. Popped up left side, and that'll find the seats out of play. Tomorrow is 50 night as part of the Rays Saturday night turn back the clock day. Cardinals will wear the road gray uniforms from 1953. And the last time that we were here in '05, the Cardinals wore the powder blue unis.
A little partial to them.
There's Rip Rowan, who's been with the Cardinals for over 30 years.
Wearing powder blue.
1-2 the count. Time is called. Upton is on deck. Just assume have him lead off next inning, not give him a chance to do some damage. Colby Rasmus with that home run at the top of this 8th inning. His 9th of the year, and it's a 4 RBI night. He also had an RBI back in the 2nd, so that's jumped up to 36. A 2-2. He was right on it.
1953, not a year we talk much about in Cardinal history. Eddie Stanky was the manager of the Cardinals at that time. And Cardinal All-Stars were Stan Musial, Del Rice, Red Schoendienst, Enos Slaughter, and Harvey Haddix. Be wearing those uniforms tomorrow.
2-2 the count here. Lynn and Molina really have not been on the same page in this at bat. Deep drive. That's trouble. It's a home run.
Well, you said they weren't on the same page, Dan. And there's your evidence. And a left-hander now up for the Cardinals.
Five-3 game. Here is Upton. This could be it for Lynn. You've got the lefty Kochman on deck. The 1-0 pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike. Upton with a base hit tonight. He has also struck out and flied out to center. Center field. Rasmus under it, and we head to the 9th.
Cardinals lead at 5-3 as we go to the ninth at Tropicana Field. Coming up after the game on the post-game edition of Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live, Pat Paris, Cal Eldred are back in the studio. Colby with a big home run. Westbrook gets himself on track, and somebody's getting a hungo. That coming up after the game. A look at Daniel Descalso, who leads things off in the ninth, and we go back to the booth. And Dan and Rick, guys.
Jim, thanks. And now it's Descalso leading it off against Ramos, his 38th appearance this year.
And all of a sudden we have ourselves a close game. Colby Rasmus's home run put the game into comfortable territory for the Cardinals, but a 3-run 8th inning. Now all of a sudden you're starting thinking about how can we scratch together another run? How can we get Descalso on base? Make it a 3-run game for Salas.
One ball, one strike. Hope everybody's enjoyed the telecast to begin your holiday weekend. Be nice for a Cardinal victory as Ramos gloves and underhands for the out. Got some fireworks in that 8th inning, and the home run by Colby Rasmus, where Howell thought he was out of the inning. A couple pitches really, Rick, and didn't get the call. It was a walk, and then Colby made him pay as he lined a home run down that right field line, stayed fair, and the Cardinals now with that home run could be the game winner tonight. Ball one to Schumacher. See how far he takes that back, Rick. It almost looks like Jaime Garcia in that delivery to the plate.
Really does.
What? Where'd he go?
Cardinals wrapping up the road trip here in Tampa Bay, back home on Monday, 4th of July against Cincinnati. Georgianne Gilmore is watching tonight. Never misses a telecast here on Fox Sports Midwest, and watching with her son Martin. Georgianne and Martin, happy 4th of July. 1-2 the count on Schumacher. Kochman, Jaso, and Fold coming up. Looking ahead for Tampa Bay in the bottom of the ninth. And now it's Ryan Theriot.
Left-hander has a bit of a short arm delivery you're talking about. He really just kind of puts the ball behind his head as opposed to really bringing it way back towards second base. He's kind of bringing it behind his ear almost. And it looks a little bit like Jaime Garcia. A lot of elbow in this kind of throw.
One ball, one strike on Ryan Theriot. Home plate umpire hearing it again. Line drive base hit for Terrio. 2-out hit for Ryan. His second hit.
And again, a pitch does not go Tampa Bay's way, and then the Cardinals do something with it. Exactly what happened in the Cardinals' 3-run 8th inning. A couple of pitches that really the inning might be over. We talked about it at the time, and then Colby Rasmus delivered. Towering home run to right field.
So 2 outs and a runner at first for John Jay. Jay, broken bat. This would be a tough play. Barehanded throw to first, not in time. And the inning is extended to Matt Holliday. Infield hit for John Jay, who runs well. And let's see if the Rays want to make a move here. They've had a right-hander throwing in their pen.
And Dave Martinez is the bench coach, acting manager. And he's going to call for the right-hander.
Matt Holliday coming up. Joel Peralta comes into the ball game, his 39th appearance, and he will get Matt Holliday with 2 runners on. Eerily similar to what we saw with the at bat with Rasmus. Couple of pitches that could have been called for strikes out of the inning. Instead, Terrio reaches, then the infield hit by Jay, and now Matt Holliday. He could do some damage here. First pitch is hit out of play, and Holliday has been locked in here tonight. He's lined out to left. He's doubled, popped out, and then hit another screamer for an out. Not much to show for it, but he's been hitting the ball hard. He's 1 for 4. Jay, the runner at first, Terrio at second. Outfield is deep. Pickoff play, and Terrio is back in safely. I don't think there's been a game this year where Ryan Terrio hasn't had dirt all over himself.
Agreed. Middle infielders like that.
Oh, 1 pitch to Holliday.
Fans are cheering that last pitch, but they're also very glad that Matt Holliday didn't catch up to it, because that was a vicious swing.
Holliday. Oh, what a stop here at short. Saves a run from scoring. Outstanding play at shortstop for the Tampa Bay Rays. Salas coming in. It's 5-3. Play of the game. Jake Westbrook, 7 innings, 2 hits, 7 strikeouts. It's brought to you by Budweiser. Our Budweiser player of the game, Jake Westbrook.
Trying to go 7-3 lifetime against the Rays. Very strong outing tonight. Give the Cardinals a leg up on this series after a sweep in Baltimore, and it's up to Fernando Salas to shut the door. 13 out of 15 in save opportunities. Very good earned run average. Been hit a little bit more in the last month. New month now. It's July. Start over again, Fernando. 1-2-3 inning. Wouldn't that be nice?
Strike 1. Casey Kotchman. For 2 tonight. Ground ball back to Salas. 1 away. An all-important first out. Jason, the catcher, looks at strike one. You wonder about tomorrow if you're in a spot in the 8th inning, who would get that call? Would you go with Mott? Do you go back to a Lance Lynn? Certainly think of Mitchell Boggs. No one has taken that role outside of Sanchez and really ran with it. 2 away.
If I were Tony La Russa, I would be glad that I'm not having that same kind of worries about the 9th inning that we're having with the 8th inning.
Quickly, 2 outs. Here's Sam Fuld. First pitch, a strike.
Salas has shown, Dan, he is the clear choice for the 9th inning.
One ball, 1 strike. Sam Fuld started the game, you might remember, Rick, with that great catch out left as he robbed Matt Holliday. But quiet at the plate tonight. 1 ball, 1 strike. Strike 2. These fans have been all over the home plate umpire. Rays down to their final strike, 1 and 2. A little bit high, 2 and 2.
Would almost be fitting that it was a called 3rd strike on a close call.
Isn't that the truth, the way things have gone here tonight? A 2-2 pitch by Salas. Got him! And the Cardinals hold on. Make that 4 in a row for St. Louis. Colby Rasmus with 4 RBIs tonight, including a crucial 3-run homer. Salas, so 1, 2, 3, 9th inning, and what a way to start the weekend set here in Tampa Bay.
Well, this is a very good team here in Tampa. Make no mistake about it. For the Cardinals to come out here and win game 1, no, they haven't played well at home, but they are a very good team. They've won 7 out of 10 games, and the Cardinals come in and win their 4th straight. Jake Westbrook, the real star of this game, but Rasmus, of course, supplied the big hit. His 3-run home run in the 8th inning was really what the Cardinals needed.
And the Cardinal fans loving this one here tonight in Tampa. Began with 7 strong innings from the starter, Jake Westbrook. Then there wasn't a strike call, and it didn't matter because Colby made him pay. A 3-run homer, and after that, Howell ejected. 4 ejections in this ball game tonight. Fernando Salas closes the door. Cardinals win it 5-3. Post-game show comes your way next.
The game is over, and the Cardinals have a 4-game winning streak. Cal Ellard and I are here to break it down on Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live. Cal, your thoughts about what's become routine here in interleague play for the Cardinals?
Jake Westbrook, 7 innings. He had a lot of nice changeups thrown in this game and good sinker location. We'll take a look at it, but another big homer by Colby Rasmus.
Certainly was. More on Cal's thoughts coming up in just a moment. After a dominating debut at Camden Yards, the Redbirds looking to continue their path of destruction through the AL East, and they do it against the Rays tonight. Plus, as Cal mentioned, Jake Westbrook back on the mound, and he was very sharp tonight. Cal will break that down, and we'll take you back to Tampa for player reaction and the always interesting Tony TV. Plus, it's Friday night, which means that someone's walking away with the hungo. Happy Canada Day, eh? Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live is a boot to come up next, you hosers.
Welcome to Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live.
Rasmus rips it into right. Will it stay fair? You bet. 3-run homer, Colby Rasmus. They didn't get the strikeout. Inning was extended. Rasmus drills it into right field.
More two-out magic for the Cardinals. They take a 5-0 lead. They needed almost every one of those runs. They win it 5-3, going back now to Tropicana Field. Jim Hayes catching up with Colby Rasmus, our Mid-America Chevrolet Dealers Player of the Game.
Colby Rasmus, a big 3-run homer in the 8th, and this one is 3rd homer in 4 games. A pitch over the plate. You were able to get your bat on it. What were you looking for in that situation? What did you get?
Well, he threw a fastball first pitch. I was thinking he might go with that slider. Left it out over the plate, and thankfully I was able to put it out there.
After the home run, a little chaos on the mound. He wasn't too happy about it. So what was your perspective? What was that like for you just watching that unfold?
Well, I hit it. I just ran the bases. I was just looking down the whole time. I didn't think anything about it. I guess he slammed his glove and all that stuff. You know, that's unfortunate for him. You know, I just was out there playing the game. I wasn't paying attention to what he was doing. I guess I'll go back and look at it and maybe have a laugh or two, but
it's pretty good.
You know, that's just the way the game is, you know.
Power numbers recently, 3 homers in 4 games, 4 over 7. When you're in a stretch like this, are you seeing the ball better? What is going on?
I don't know. I changed a few things with my swing. You know, trying to get my hands back, working a little rhythm, trying to get some more pop back in my bat, and it's working. Just trying to get more consistent. You know, get some base hits in there. Those home runs are coming, but you know, it's a tough game with the, you know, just trying to get things going, get it rolling, and you know, just stay on top of it. I just try to work on getting my hands back. Getting some more power back, like I said, getting my weight back and all that stuff. And it's working so far, so I'm going to try to stick with it.
Yeah, do that. Thanks. Good job.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Jim.
All right, that's Colby Rasmus. Kat, we send it back to you.
All right, Jim, thank you. And we officially now welcome you inside our Fox Sports Midwest studio in St. Louis. It is the post-game edition of Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live with Cal Eldred. I'm Pat Paris. Coming up, we'll get you back to the Sunshine State for Tony La Russa's Tony TV and more reaction from the Cardinals players as well. And we'll go inside Jake Westbrook's night and break that down. And somebody's going to walk away with a Hungo Award tonight. We'll have to see.
It's not going to be us.
No, but somebody, maybe it's the guy we just heard from, Colby Rasmus. And Cal, what a strange 8th inning that was from start to finish. But the most entertaining part of that, as Jim Hayes was pointing out to Colby, was the top of that 8th inning.
And I've never seen a pitcher slam his glove down like that. I know Dan was commenting too, but the 8th inning, the top of the 8th, mayhem broke out. It was a crazy, crazy inning. And it all started with a very close pitch to Lance Berkman with the base on balls. Obviously, we got Fox tracks on this, Pat, and it was off the plate.
Yeah, and then what happens when you're Joe Madden?
You get upset.
You get upset.
He was upset. He was arguing. The thing is, what he's saying is it's happened all game long. They've been upset the entire ball game, and then it happens again. Freezer takes a nice.
But Madden's gone by now. So.
Madden's gone. He's tossed.
And then a balk.
And then a balk by J.P. Howell. You can see where he starts and stops. It's just a little bit, but once you start up to come to the set position, you have to continue on. So with Berkman at second, 3-2 count. David Freese, that was a heck of an at-bat. Wanted to show the whole thing, but that was a heck of an at-bat by him, and there was another close pitch in there that we saw earlier. And then, like Colby said, an 0-1 slider that didn't do anything after a fastball, and he deposits that baby down the right field line. Now, all craziness breaks loose.
It certainly does. By the way, another lefty that he hits a home run off of, but as he's trying to get to home plate, it's J.P. Howell and the home plate umpire having a little disagreement. He almost didn't get to home plate because of that.
J.P. didn't like Vic at this moment. He threw his glove down, but this pitch was out over the middle of the plate. It was a bad slider, and whammo!
Haven't seen that since Little League, but Howell in frustration. It's not done either. The ball's thrown to him by the home plate umpire. He slams that down, throws it away, and eventually some more disagreement. He's going to get tossed. one of 4 guys that ended up getting tossed in the end. Let's see, Joe Madden, let's see, J.P. Howell, and Price gets thrown out as well. It is one of those situations that things tempers got out of control, and the Cardinals were the beneficiary. And good thing that Colby hit the 300 homer, because they come back and score 3 in the bottom of the 8th, but win it by the final of 5-3. The tweet is on. That bomb by Colby Rasmus was incredible. The reaction by Howell was a great impersonation of Kenny Powers, eastbound and down, a little hot-headed. Yeah, there you go.
The thing is, though, is you cannot, if you're Howell, you cannot lose your cool like that, even though he felt that was strike 3 either on Freezer or on Berkman. Madden came out, he argued, he did what he should do as a manager, get the crowd fired up, get his team fired up, and then the homer, J.P. Howell lost it, and from there on, they did come back and score 3 runs in the bottom, but it wasn't enough for the Cardinals, because obviously they had 5 runs. You watch Eastbound and Down, do you, or just you've heard the name before? I've heard that's apparently what's going on here. We appreciate that. We're going to get back to the broadcast booth now down in Tampa Bay, and that's Dan McLaughlin and Ricky Horton rejoining us now with a view from the booth to put a wrap on it, guys.
Solid win for the Cardinals tonight, now 4 in a row. Jake Westbrook came up big.
Yeah, the Cardinals have gotten some good starts out of the rotation of late. Jake Westbrook, this is as good a start as we've seen out of him in a very long time. He was outstanding, working on 1 extra day's rest, maybe a bit stronger today, but he was able to control, for the most part, the strike zone. Some calls went his way that certainly Tampa Bay wasn't happy about, but an outstanding performance for Jake Westbrook, and the Cardinals really need him to be just like that to contend.
We've got the Hungo coming up later in the show. Let's send it back to you.
Can't wait for the Hungo. Can't wait to see all these highlights either. First inning, Matt Holliday up with 2 outs. He hits a liner into right. Sam Fuld, though, he has become kind of a folk hero there.
What the Sam Fuld?
A dazzling catch. Matt Holliday, he's not feeling well, and he's really not feeling well after the guys robbing him tonight.
That'll make you sick, and we've got more of that coming up.
A little later on. Lance Berkman leads off top of the 2nd, though, and he rips a double into the gap in right center. He'll eventually get driven in by Colby Rasmus on a ground out. Nobody hotter than Lance Berkman, hotter than the St. Louis weather right now.
It is, and that is extremely hot.
That's very, very hot. Yadier Molina up later in the inning with David Freese on second. Yadi rakes one to right center. B.J. Upton nonchalant about getting it in, and guess what? That's going to allow David Freese to score ahead of the relay, and it's 2-0 Redbirds.
Give Jose Oquendo a lot of credit there. He was waving him the whole way because he saw Upton delay.
And then it's up to Jake Westbrook. He was sharp. That is a looking strikeout on Fuld. Westbrook 5 Ks at that point in the game. Then in the groove here, it gets Fuld to ground out 3-1 to end the 7th. Westbrook trying 12 straight at one point, as then his night's over after 7 shutout innings. And then that interesting 8th inning, we got 2 on now, 2 outs for Colby Rasmus, and this one is absolutely crushed. The only question was it fair or foul? And it was fair. 3-run shot.
It was fair. J.P. Howell didn't think it was fair. He wanted to argue.
He didn't think any of it was fair.
And he had the Little League reaction. Doggone it, what the? Everything but swear words coming out of him right now.
Well, as far as we know.
Didn't like the glove, didn't like the ball. Throw it away. Yeah, I'd throw it away too.
Yeah, he gets ejected for his efforts eventually, and that 3-run shot, number 9 on the season for Colby. He's had 3 homers in the 4 games of this road trip so far, and he is really raking right now. Then to the 9th inning, and it's a 1-2-3 ninth, now a 5-3 game, so a safe situation, and Salas picks it up. 14th save for him as he strikes out Fuld. Fuld had an interesting night with the great catch and then a bunch of outs that we just showed there. But in the end, it's a 5-3 victory, and the Cardinals have won 4 in a row, Cal. They've had 6 4-game winning streaks now in this season. They've never had a 5-game winning streak.
That takes the sting out of a 7-game losing streak or an 8-game losing streak. When you have those long losing streaks, when you can run 4 off in a row, and with the starting pitching, if it continues, there's going to be more of those. And Westbrook gets the win. Much more about Jake Westbrook coming up. This offense, though, they end up with 5 runs tonight. That seems to be their magic number on the road. We see them score 5, 6, or more runs. This ball club just seems to really like to hit and get the bats going on the road. Well, and with Jaime last night, the offense needed to score more runs. He wasn't as sharp with his fastball. And then the 2 previous nights, starting pitchers going 7, going 9, and now Jake Westbrook going 7 tonight, only giving up 2 hits. That's the key to giving the offense an opportunity to add on. They had a chance in the 5th and didn't do it, but adding on the 8th was key.
That certainly was. We're going to continue here on Missouri Lottery Cardinals Live. We'll get back down to Tampa and get some player reaction. You'll hear Tony TV as well and break down Jake's start. Stay with us on Fox Sports Midwest.